Hey Tay, really excited to be working with you to fix your shot, look at it and give you a breakdown and then tweak it or give any recommendations that I see fit that can help improve your jump shot. You're in good hands over there with Joel, great guy. Keep working on your game. I'm here to be a resource for you to help improve in any way possible. So I'll try to get all my videos that I do on Instagram to send to either you or your mom or your dad, so that then you have all the information you need in order to do any tweaks that we need, because I basically have filmed every video. This shot breakdown, how we're going to do it. The first one, I'm going to look at your shot in real time, and then I'm going to break it down and then look at it in slow-mo, and then I'm going to break it down from the front angle, the side, and then the back. So, without further ado, let's get started. Go slow-mo. Alright. So, first things that I notice right off the bat is right here. I notice hand placement. So hand placement is actually really important. It's one of my non-negotiables. You want your hand in the middle of the ball and under the ball, right? And so right now, if you can see, the middle of the ball for us is probably somewhere right here, okay? And we have our hands spread really far across the ball and on the sides. So you're enticing yourself to have a two-handed shot just to begin with. So what we want to do is you want your hands to be in the middle of the ball. And so right now you have something I call a wide grip. So when you are going to change your grip, and I, again, highly recommend this, you want to basically tape the ball around the middle. So start at the air hole, get a piece of tape. Painter's tape works great. And you're going to tape the ball all the way around, cutting the ball in half. And now every single time you shoot, as you're starting to reconstruct your shot, you want to put your index finger on that tape. And you want your whole index finger on it. You don't want to add a slant. You don't want it to the side of it. You want it directly on that tape, and you want your whole index finger on it. Reason being is because if you have your hand on the side of the ball, like so we have the hand on the side and this hand on the side, it's going to entice us, one, to shoot and snap back this direction, and two, to entice this thumb to flick so that it goes straight. Alright, so we want, again, our hand under and in the middle of the ball so we can just snap up through the elbow. The other side of this, you kind of have a slant right here with your shoulders. You got a slant like this, and also with your base. So now we have our motion not all going forward. We have negative energy there. Again, already with the hands, them are going to be forcing one this way. And I saw in your shot earlier that you actually twist and this foot comes forward. We have energy just going everywhere but straight towards the basket right now. Okay, we want everything to be going up and down and then straight forward to the basket. No wasted movement, no wasted energy. We want everything going forward. So, second part of this I want to talk about is your shoulders and your legs down here. You want to line up your toes, try to point them straight towards the basket. A slight tilt is okay. If this is perfectly straight, right, here and here, if it is at a, let's say, 5-degree tilt, maybe, if that, like a 5-degree tilt, that right there is 10 degrees. So they'd be off just like by that much. And again, if this is straight, that right there would be 10 degrees. That's okay, right? As much as possible, we want them straight. The second part of this with our feet, which is our foundation, extremely important, is we want to try to keep them either on the same playing field, to where our toes are on that like line, or your left foot, so your non-shooting hand foot, should fit in the crease of our shoe and then go shoulder width apart. Okay, so what you do a good job of is you have a wide stance, but you want to not only start wide like you are here, these are wide obviously, but you want to end wide. So you want to start where you finish. You want to start in this box, you want to finish in that box. You do not want your feet to come together, come closer, or you don't want your body to twist and this go that way. And what we actually see a little in your shot is this leg will come forward. So for our base, we want to make sure they're either in the same playing field, or you put your left foot inside that crevice in your shoe, go shoulder width, and have your toes pointed forward after we fix our hand positioning. Okay, those are our first two. Next, the ball here, we want to make sure that this ball is in line with our hip, our knees, our ankle, and then our elbows directly behind it. So in an ideal world, you would want everything to be in one line. So it should all be in one line like so, right? But you can see right here we have our little circles a little out of that line. So we want to move things over to the right and actually have that ball directly in front of our elbows behind the ball, to the point where we would not actually be able to see your elbow if it was in the right position right here. The elbow would be directly behind the ball to where I couldn't see it. All right, let's look in slow-mo. And yes, so we do come together a little bit on our feet and jump a little, if you can tell, to the left. So now we have our energy going, now our energy going this way, and this foot comes forward just a little bit. You see it more on the side angle. Last part, like I already said, you can see a little here. We're enticing that two-hand shot. So you see this here, this hand opens up. We're wanting to shoot with that hand. We have because our hand isn't in the middle of the ball. Have this is where our elbow is. Try as much as you can to fix this in midair, and you actually correct it. So this is what I call false positive, because you are pushing with that, and then in midair you fix it. So now when you finish, you're like, hey, look, I didn't use this hand at all. This looks like a great shot, but in reality, you did push slightly with it. Our elbow here, we want more under the ball as much as possible. A little more under. It will flare out a little bit, but then the bigger thing that we're noticing again is this hand is on the side of the ball. We will never get any headway until we change that to have our hand directly under the ball right here. So now I want to take a look at your shot from this side angle. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down this ball path. Okay, ball starts here. As we go into our shot, we bend down, slightly push the ball out a little bit. Now we're really, okay, well, here we go. Now we're getting into our shot. So now we're into our shot. Boom. So our ball path actually is like that. So what ideally our goal for our ball path is, we want the ball to start close to our body. We want to get our elbow under, so the ball may dip a slight bit and then go straight up and forward. So this is basically the path that we want it to take, this yellow line right here going towards the basket. So what you're doing is now, because of this, you have some negative energy coming backwards and then forwards, and we're launching it more like a catapult than an actual shot going straight up and down. Okay, so, and again, you can actually see this in the angle of your arm as you come into your shot. Look at this right here. We have this degree right here where there's no broken wrist. We want to have a wrinkle in our wrist, and this isn't really even a 90-degree angle. This is coming backwards more at, let's say, 45, 50, 60 degree angle, right? So what we would want to do is, instead of it being like this, right, it's at a 54-degree angle, more like so, up like that. Okay, so we just want to change that slightly. Up top, we want our hand to be under the ball right there. So what we can do to fix this, one, we're gonna do our work early. We'll wrinkle the wrist to start. Also, our hand's already gonna be in the middle of the ball. My phone's acting. We're gonna have this ball be closer to our body, and actually our elbow would be behind our body just a little bit. Okay, so this is gonna be tighter. Then the first movement, always, the first motion is driving this elbow under the ball. Okay, as you start to squat down, you want to drive your elbow under. Once you get to the bottom of your squat, okay, so once you get to this position, boom, okay, so that would technically be the bottom of the squat. Your elbow should be already under the ball, and all you should be doing is going straight up and snapping your wrist towards the basket. So your elbow drive, where your elbow starts to where your elbow finishes, that right there, that's what gives you arc. Sorry about that. So your elbow drive gives you arc. Now the snap of your wrist gives you distance. Okay, That's from the snap of your wrist. Now, when you combine the extension of your elbow and the snap of your wrist, you get something called range. And that's what everyone's going for. Why Steph Curry has the most range is because he has the most wrist flexibility, and he's able to bend his wrist back pretty far and then snap his wrist forward with amazing torque to where it's actually strongest in the NBA. And he also keeps the ball tight to his body and explodes his elbow from a low angle up to a higher angle to get that arc plus the snap equals his distance. That's why he has the best range, because he's combining his elbow with his wrist at the same time, working in unison. Yeah, see, and we're actually rotating this ball to try to get our hand somewhat under, and it's more so behind it, right? Our hand is kind of behind the ball. We want this even more under, so we're going to wrinkle that wrist, break that wrist. I'll send you drills to do so that you can work on this. Last part that I notice here, you want to fully extend your elbow. It looks like you're trying to fully lock that out, and you want this angle to be more like so. You need to lock out that snap as well. So the snap looks pretty dull, kind of weak. All right, we want to snap down hard through that ball. See, we snap, and this is kind of right. And even there, you can tell it's not fully down right there. This should be down. So you want to snap up through the ball is what I tell all my clients, with your fingers, 5 fingers pointing down. Okay, snap up through the ball, fingers finish pointing down. In this last angle, it's really clear to see where our hand is on the ball. So as we go through this, you can see how the hand's on the side of the ball, and then we'll even rotate it to try to get it to where our index and middle finger are in the middle of the basket. So you're working overtime. You're actually working harder than you need to. You can do all your setup early, wrinkle the wrist, right? Have your hand already in the middle of the ball to where all you'd have to do is go straight up, straight down. We want to try to keep it simple. I like to use the word KISS. Keep it stupid simple, all right? KISS is a great acronym that I use for all my kids to remind them you want less is more. You want to go straight up, straight down. You want all your energy going towards the basket. You don't want any negative energy, any backwards motion, and you don't want to be trying to twist this ball right here right before you shoot. Okay, you should already do all your work early so that all you have to do is drive that elbow under the ground and then go up in one fluid motion, combining the lower half of your body with the upper half working together, going up at the same time. So let's look at this in real time. Right here. Let's look at it in slow-mo. Yeah. So one of your biggest issues is honestly your hand placement. You fix that, and then you keep the ball tight and start working on your timing, driving the elbow under the ball. You're going to see a huge success very quickly. You'll increase your power, increase your range, as well as your control. The 3 things that you're looking for in your shot is power, control, and efficiency. Efficiency meaning how strenuous is it to shoot the ball. It shouldn't be that hard. It should actually feel pretty light and just like the snap of a wrist, just you flicking your wrist down to try to get the ball to the basket. It shouldn't be like you really trying to muscle the ball there. So if you're having issues with power, issues with efficiency, the reason is because you're probably not working together with your lower body and your upper body. It's not in unison. So again, I'll send you another drill for that. Overall, your bigger things to focus on: hand placement, tape that ball. I'll send you those videos. 2, keeping your elbow, getting your elbow under the ball, so timing, working on that. And then 3 is snapping down through the ball. Or like I say, you snap up through the ball, fingers finish pointing down. That's a huge thing for you. You want to make sure you're finishing the shot and you're not having a slow snap or a weak snap. It's just gonna affect your shot later down the road. So I'll send you all the videos on things to do. Again, Blesh is the best shooting form. I know Joel's probably talked about it. I preach it all the time. You're going to go back to one-hand shooting. Go back to form shooting every day. And the more repetitions and the more time you spend with that ball, the better your shot's going to be. Okay? A lot of it is reps. You do have to rep it out, but you need to rep out with the right form. I call it purposeful training. You need to make sure there's a purpose to your training, there's a purpose to your shot, you're repping it out the right way, because if you shoot with your form, not saying it's necessarily bad, I'm just saying it's not going to be as consistent, you're going to have to take twice, maybe 3 times as shots, so like 3 million shots, to master your shots as opposed to my 1 million, okay? And you're thinking 1 million, that's a lot. It is, but if you want to master something, all right, it takes a lot of time. How I got from being an okay shooter to a pretty good shooter is I shot 1,300 shots a day in one summer, and I went from averaging about 6 points a game to 18 points a game on varsity. You can do it in one summer. It just depends how much time you want to put into this game. Hope that all helps. Again, let me know if you have any questions or feedback. I'm always here as a resource, and I look forward to seeing your progress and how your shot changes over the next few months.